Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about SlotInvasion guides versus Frankenslot guides and what's the biggest difference. As far as I can tell, not much. There's a few physical things, but let's get into it. So first off, I want to thank Warren from lighttechslots.ca who sent me the Frankenslot guide because we happened to be talking about it, and he said, here you go, I got a bunch, test it out. My guys really love it down here. He's from Ontario, and he sent me one to say, listen, you're using the SlotInvasion, see if there's actually any difference. So I took the guide, I put it in the Carrera, the Mercedes that you see there, and then in the middle, the Audi, and I couldn't really, those are two of my best performing cars, and I couldn't really get much difference in timing or break any records with the Frankenslot versus the SlotInvasion. So then I said, you know what, maybe there's a difference in my slowest car, which is my Expo. It's the most squirreliest car I got. So I swapped those out, did a couple tests, and I can't really see much difference or improvement or unimprovement, if you will. Let's get into it. Let's get into the technicals of it. I know that there is some measurements online that tell you what the guides are, and so far that all I can really see is that the SlotInvasion is 30.5 millimeters long, whereas the Frankenslot is exactly 30 millimeters in length. So basically this length here to here, that's the length. The depth of the guide, they're both equal at 7.0 millimeters, and the thickness is 2.2 millimeters. Now, I don't know if it's just my equipment or whatnot, but there seems to be a little discrepancy in a previous video from 2021. I'll leave a link in the description, and so you guys can check that out. It's a really good video. I don't need to go over all the basics again, but for those of you who are thinking of upgrading your guides and who have digital tracks, this is kind of like an option that we come across, and there isn't much out there. I mean, even on the forums that I've noticed, people were asking what are the differences, and kind of people just, they kind of avoid the question or say different things, but no one can actually say, hey, there is or isn't a difference between the guides. Now, if you go on SlotInvasion's website, they do specifically say that the guides are made in Germany, which has me thinking that maybe Frankenslot is producing the molds for them and with a bit of different changes, just to say, hey, it's not exactly the same slot. So, I mean, sometimes manufacturers do that. I can't say for sure. Don't quote me on that. Maybe SlotInvasion happens to have the same, manufacturer that makes the molds, and they realized, hey, we can't give you the same mold, but, or they came to the same specs, and Frankenslot and SlotInvasion happened to figure out what are the best guides for Carrera cars themselves. We are kind of at the mercy here of these guys because, it's not like we can easily make guides in our backyard or our basements or our garages. It's not exactly a thing that is popular in the hobby itself. So when a company comes out and says, hey, we make performance guides, and you have other videos and other people saying, hey, yeah, we can really see the performance difference, that's something to really look at, and you have to decide for yourself, hey, is the Carrera guide itself good enough for me in my track? Or are these guides really meant for wood tracks or different tracks other than Carrera? That's something that you're going to have to figure out for yourself. That's something that you're going to have to see. I've noticed a little bit of a difference, but not much. But at the same time, any couple of seconds, any tenth of a second that I can shave off my timing is definitely worth it. I have noticed the cars do tend to stay in the guides better. There's less mishaps with the changers, and that's why I went straight for these guides, and I just didn't want to break my head. I've yet to have any issues as soon as I changed all my guides to SlotInvasion. However, again, like I said, when I found out that Frankenslot was making guides, I was like, well, what's the difference? Am I going to get an advantage if I switch to Frankenslot guides or whatnot? But then looking upon them, I'm like, hey, these guys look kind of the same, so what is really the difference? So again, that difference is the length of 30.5 millimeters versus the Frankenslot, which is exactly 30 millimeters, and then the width and the depth are exactly the same. So besides the fact that the back end here, technically these should be like this, right? This is the front end, this is the back end. I don't know why I flipped them, I just like that. They've got a little difference in, nose here. One's got a bumpy nose, one's got a skinny nose. It is what it is. I don't know, maybe they did that on purpose, who knows? Only the secrets, if that's somewhere deep down dug in a forum and I didn't happen to get that information, I apologize. I just wanted to make a really quick and dirty video about this to let you guys know that I have not found in my testing of these 3 cars, specifically 2 of my faster cars and 1 of my slower cars, that there are or is any difference in between these 2 high performance guides as they are being sold as and as they are being represented as on the internet. So I will be putting a link in a video to a really good description of the SlotInvasion. There are other Frankenslot guide videos out there, yet none of them are comparing, so I just wanted to do this one. Guys, my opinion on this thing, these 2 guides, there is no difference. So whichever ones you have a handle on, or whichever ones you can get quicker or faster or cheaper, go for it. These 2 guides perform really well. These 2 guides perform the same. There is not much of a difference between either of them. So happy racing, all the best. Thank you for watching this video, and if it's good for you, good for you. See you guys in the next one.